Well, when we received a joint deployment order to go to Iraq
Yes, sir.
because Saddam Hussein,
Yes, I remember him.
it was really bad. So the Joint Staff got together, Joint Chiefs of Staff got together, and came out with a joint deployment plan that had 9 divisions moving halfway around the world, and they wanted it done in 6 months. So I was the Chief of Staff at Military Sealift Command, which was my joint assignment, and I looked at this thing and I said, holy shit. This is the biggest deployment since D-Day.
Yeah.
9 divisions, 15 tactical fighter squadrons, 3 carrier battle groups. We had to get them all the way around the world. So we went to work, and we came up with a plan. We sent it back to the Joint Staff saying we could have everything over there by the 15th of January. President Bush said, I have to draw a line in the sand. You might remember that. He went on TV and said it.
That, sir.
So he drew a line in the sand, and they wanted us to tell him what that day was. So I said 15 December 1991.
Yes.
He said, okay. And Schwarzkopf, generally who was the CN commander, came back and said, bullshit, you can't possibly get all that stuff over there in 6 months. It ain't going to happen. You're going to make me a failure. I had worked for Colin Powell earlier in my career, and he was sitting there, and we got called to the White House for this meeting. And Schwarzkopf had flown back from Saudi Arabia with his staff, and they all sat in the Oval Office. And it was George Bush. He's an amazing guy, great guy.
Yes, I agree.
And he said, I'm going to draw a line in the sand, but I need to know the day that we're going to be able to do that. My plan to the Joint Staff was we'll be there on the 15th of January. Schwarzkopf came back, bullshit. Ain't going to happen. You're going to embarrass me. You're going to make me loser. All that stuff. Yeah, he started yelling and screaming.
Going to embarrass him.
I was a colonel. All them other guys in the room were generals and brothers. So, since I had worked for Colin Powell, he patted I can't remember his name now. Patted him on the leg and said, I've known Rick for a long time. His plans are worth their weight in gold.
Oh.
We're going with the 15th of January. Schwarzkopf spun around in his chair, looked at me. If he had a pistol, he would have drawn it and shot me right in the head. He said, you're going to embarrass me in my command, blah, 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 blah.
Really?
Yeah, it was really ugly. So I said, okay, that's enough of that. Got out, I grabbed my charts and I ran out of the White House. I ran as fast as I could run. And I got back to my office, and my boss, a 3-star Navy Admiral, Frank Donovan, one of the best guys on the planet, came into my office and said, Rick, settle down, you did a great job. This is what we're going with. The president said 15th January. So on the 11th of November in 1990, if you remember, he went on national television. He said, if Saddam Hussein, if you're not out of Iraq by the 15th of January, we're going to come in there and kick your ass.
Yes, I remember.
And guess what? On the last day, 15th of January, the last ship crossed the release point in the Persian Gulf. They had ping pong balls and gumdrops and shit on it.
Yes, sir.
The combat stuff was already there. And we went and we kicked their ass in 100 hours.
In 100
hours, the war was over.
And he's the one that drove the ship.
You drove the ship?
Oh, yeah. Got all that shit over there in 6 months. 3.5 million tons of equipment.
And what was the date again?
15 January 1991. And we launched that night. I was already over there with a Navy buddy of mine who was the Admiral's aide before he took command of the John F. Kennedy. And I launched with him in an A-6 at 13,000 feet. and we watched his squadrons go in and decimate all their radars, all their communications, everything else. And that day was 15 January 1991.
My daddy died.
You watched it on TV?
April. I did. Let me tell you what I